Berachos Daf Nun Aleph, there's a saying, if somebody has bad breath because he ate a lot of garlic, should he eat more garlic? Says Rav Chisda, if somebody forgot to say a bracha and is in the middle of eating, he shouldn't continue eating, he should stop and make a bracha. Says Ravin, if so, even if you finish your meal completely, you should make a bracha after the meal. And he brings a raya from a person who cannot make a bracha before he's toivel in a mikvah, he's about carry, or let's say he's a ger, you should make the bracha afterwards. So too, you should make a bracha after you finished eating. The Gemara says there's no raya from there, because a person who's a ger cannot make a bracha. The only time he can make a bracha is afterwards, but a person who was eating could have made a bracha beforehand, and since he didn't, he lost his opportunity. The Gemara discusses this very interesting drink called ispargos. It's made out of wine and cabbage. And it's extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. There's two types, two varieties. One is made out of wine, one is made out of beer. The one that's made out of wine is very good for lat and very bad for ramat. It's good for your heart, eyes, and spleen, very bad for your head, intestines, and tachtoiniyos, hemorrhoids. If the wine is old, it's 3 years old, then it is good for your intestines. If you drink the wine variety, you should eat immediately afterwards bread. But if you drink the beer variety, you should eat immediately afterwards whatever that beer is made out of. If it's made out of dates, eat a date. If you're used to drinking this, it's really good for your body. But if you get drunk from it, it's terrible on your body. If you drink the wine variety, do not spit afterwards, because that can cause a lot of damage to the body. The beer variety, you should spit, and you have to spit. Therefore, if you're in front of a king, you should spit in front of the king. The Gemara tells us, Reb Shimon ben Elisha was talking to Suriel, a very prominent malach, and Suriel said that you should be careful from 3 things. First of all, don't allow someone else to dress you in the morning. Don't allow anybody that didn't wash their own hands to wash your hands in the morning. And when you finish drinking asparagus, give the cup over to the person who gave it to you, otherwise it can be extremely dangerous. There are gangs of shadim that are waiting to attack humans, and they just wait for you to mess up on one of these 3 things and then they'll attack you, or there's a gang of malach chabala. Either way, it's very dangerous. Reb Shmuel Levi was told by the malach hamavis the same exact thing, but the 3rd thing about asparagus was switched. Malach hamavis didn't tell him about asparagus, but he told him that be very careful, don't bump into women who are coming back from a funeral, because I myself, the Malach HaMavis, sit between them, dance there with my sword, waiting for somebody to come by. If you see women coming back from a funeral, you should jump 4 amas, 8 feet away from them, run across a river, do whatever you have to do to get out of there, hide behind the wall. If you can't, you should at least say the pasuk, Vayim Hashem al Satan, Yigar B'cha. There are 10 halachas that are said by a koshel bracha. You should wash the inside, you should wash the outside, you should use undiluted wine and only later on dilute it. You should have a full cup, and if you do, you'll have nachla b'li mitzarim. Another pshat is you'll have olam hazeh and olam haba. You should do itur, crown your cup either with talmidim or with other cups. Fill those cups with wine, according to one pshat. Ituf means in addition to your head covering, you should wear a special head covering just for Berachos Hamazon and Kiddush. Mishnah Berurah brings la'alachah, that's what you should do, some sort of hat, or some are even makbid on wearing a jacket. You should lift up the cup of wine with 2 hands, or have somebody else lift it up with 2 hands and put it into your right hand. It should be above the ground, at least a tefach, and above the table, if you're using a table, 1 tefach. Gaze into the wine so that you could concentrate on the bracha, on the kiddush, on the Berachos Hamazon. Rabbi Yochanan was only makbid on 4 out of the 10 on washing the inside and out. That should be full and it should be undiluted. Taisus points out that Rabbi Yochanan was also makbid on the 5th one, that should be in your right hand, and the Amirayim were very makbid on all 10. Therefore, we should also, if we can, be makbid on all 10. The Gemara discusses if the cup is too heavy, or if it's Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Chanukah and benching is really long and it becomes heavy, can you use your left hand to help you out? And since we don't have any conclusion, you should be machmer and do not use your left hand at all. You should try to send your wife wine from the koshel bracha. The Gemara tells us a story. Rav Nachman had Ula as a guest, and he honored him with zimon, and then he told Ula, give some to my wife. And Ula said, I don't have to, because you drink from the koshel bracha, that's enough for your wife. Yalta, Rav Nachman's wife, was very upset, and she went ahead and she broke 400 barrels of wine. Rav Nachman tried to calm her down and said, look, just take a little bit of wine from the barrel, the koshel bracha goes into the barrel. She tells him, what do you think, I am a fool? You're talking silly talk like a peddler that just talks ear. Another 2 halachas, the Gemara says, once you lift up the koshel bracha, you're not allowed to talk anymore, and if you drink a full cup of wine during the meal, do not drink the 2nd cup. That's called zugas. You should not make Berachos Hamazon in that 2nd cup. It's dangerous to drink pears. Anything in pears is dangerous. When it comes to Birkas Hamazon Lahalacha, you should always sit down, even if you're walking, if you're standing, if you're leaning. You should always be in a sitting position so you can concentrate on Birkas Hamazon. And with that, we finish Perek Shloisha Shachlu, and now we're going to begin Perek Elu Dvarim. We have a very long Mishnah which discusses many machlekes between Bisham and Hillel. We're going to go into all the machlekes later on in the sugyas one by one. We'll mention them briefly here, and all of them the halacha is like Beis Hillel. We have a machlekes between Bisham and Hillel. If you make, according to Beis Hillel, you make the bracha on the wine, then you make kiddush. First you make kiddush according to Beis Hillel, and then you wash your hands. You wipe your hands on a towel, and you put the towel on your cushion, not on the table like Beis Shammai. First you wash your mayim achronim, and then you sweep up the floor from crumbs or your table from crumbs. If you only have 1 cup of wine, and that cup you want to use it for Havdalah and for Birkas Hamazon, what is the proper order? According to Beis Hillel, you do ner, the candle, then besamim, then Birkas Hamazon, and then Havdalah. And Beis Hillel you say the words me'orei ha'esh, borei me'orei ha'esh, not me'orei ha'esh, meaning the different colors in the fire. If a person forgot to bench and he walked away, he should just do Birkas Hamazon wherever he is. On a weekday, if they gave him a cup of wine, according to Beis Hillel, you make a bracha on the Birkas Hamazon. First you do Birkas Hamazon, and then you make the bracha on the wine. And the Mishnah says, in general, you don't make a bracha on a candle and besamim of a guy and a dead person, and that of Avodah Zarah. Birkas Hamazon can't be said until the food is digested in the body. The Gemara goes into that, what exactly the shear is. If you hear a half a bracha from a Jew, you know what bracha he's referring to, you're allowed to answer Amen. But if a Kusi says a half a bracha, you don't know if he said a bracha to his God or to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, therefore you don't say Amen at all. The first machlekes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is what comes first, Kiddush or Yayin. Beis Hillel says you say the bracha al Gafen and then on Kiddush. The reason is because the wine is what causes the Kiddush. Without wine and Challah, you cannot make Kiddush. And wine is Tadr. You use wine for Havdalah, for Birkas Hamazon, for Kiddush. Therefore, wine comes first. It's 2 reasons against Beis Shammai's 2 reasons. And Allah is like Beis Hillel. What's the big Kiddush that Allah is like Beis Hillel? We know a Baskal came and said that Allah is always like Beis Hillel. It's very possible, says the Gemara, that this is before the heavenly voice came out. And it's possible that we don't go by a Baskal. Rabbi Shua says, when it came to Rabbi Eliezer and they said Allah is like Rabbi Eliezer, we don't listen to a Baskal. Have a wonderful day.